Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wild on a Trail. As promised, wanted to go ahead and provide a gear overview video. Gear that I'd taken along with me on my summer shakedown hike from Harper's Ferry to the Mason-Dixon line. A couple of things I want to cover before we dig in to my backpack. Why did I do a summer shakedown hike? First and foremost, I wanted to choose some very hot days because I have little experience trekking long distances in the heat. I have plenty of experience being outdoors in the heat, freezing weather, but actually putting on a pack and trying to cover some long distances, I wanted to see how my body was going to react to what I was capable of. Also concerned with my knees, which we'll talk about that briefly a little bit more in the video. Also, a major concern of mine has been chafing. Chafing has been a major concern of mine on the trail. It's taken a lot of people off trail on their through hikes, and if you don't address it immediately when it starts to rear its ugly head, it could lead to some real problems. Finally, the shakedown itself, getting out, getting your equipment, the things that you have invested money in, getting it out for a hike away from home. The only way that you can do that is to be away from your living room floor. A lot of people set up their gear in their living room or their garage or even in their backyard. But the only way that you're going to find out what works for you is to get out and log some miles from head to foot. Your clothing, your footwear, your tent or hammock, all the gear that you have taken along. You got to get it out in the elements, set it up, take it down, get some miles on it, and find out what is going to work or not work for you. So we're going to go ahead and head down here to a picnic table. I'm going to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is not intended to be an in-depth gear review. I'm going to touch on a few items. If you have any questions about the gear, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll answer your questions as best I can. Before we dig in and get things started with the gear explosion, I do want to mention I've paid for every item that you're about to see. It's my intention to only give a brief overview of each item and share whether or not it worked for me. And also make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to find out what the most foolish piece of gear is that I brought along during my shakedown hike. Starting with my trekking poles, I have the Black Diamond Trail Pro Shock trekking poles. These have absolutely performed flawlessly for me over a few hundred miles, and you'll note that I have some duct tape for some repairs, also some Luco or Lyco tape, however you want to pronounce it, and that's for blisters, hot spots, and maybe some medical situations as well. This is my Gregory Optic 48 backpack. This thing weighs in at 2.4 pounds with the brain. It does come with a removable brain, and you can put the rain flap on top, and I may do that in the future to save a few ounces. Just wanted to cover how I have things configured here. I do have my camp shoes, which I purchased these intentionally one full size larger to give my feet a little bit of room to breathe, and also if my toes are throbbing or if I have any blisters issues. So I simply have them with carabiners on the back. Flipping the pack around, I did have a question what type of water pouch or holder I was running. This is the Justin's UL water bottle pouch. You can find that on Etsy. I've been very, very pleased with the performance of this pouch. Also on the front, I do have some hand sanitizer, and I do intend to run a phone holder up front. Pack has side pockets, which has come in handy for my headlamp and also my snacks during the day. That is the Gregory Optic 48. This is my Thermarest Z-Lite. This is a section of a sleep pad that I cut down to use as multi-purposes here. My camp seat, it's 4 sections. It's 1 ounce per panel. I've already weighed those out, so you're looking at 4 ounces there. I also use this, I can configure this underneath my sleep pad to help create a shim as I'm a side sleeper, and I have very difficult time getting comfortable at night. So when it comes time to toss and turn, I simply fold this up, stick it underneath my pad, and it helps me get a little bit more comfortable. Taking a look at my water system and water purification. I had along 3 1-liter smart water bottles, and I took a cap from one of the smaller smart water bottles, and these are perfect to drink from and also to back flush your water filter with. It simply snaps in the end, and you can back flush your water filter if you're using one of the Sawyer systems. Now this is actually the Sawyer Squeeze. I've had great luck with this. The flow rate is fantastic. I haven't had any issues with it so far. I always make certain that I carry an extra gasket there, so it makes a great seal between this and a water bottle, as you do not want the your dirty water leaking out into your clean water bottle. I also have fashioned from a water bottle a little scoop here in case there's a low flow rate at a water source. I can simply scoop that and fill it into the bottles. Rain gear. I had a lighter style military poncho that would serve the purpose of covering my body and also my pack at the same time. I love this style during hot weather because I can simply drape the sides over me. There's snaps on the side, so I can snap a couple of the snaps. I have coverage over my head, also my body and my pack at the same time, and this is really, really lightweight. It has served me well. Also, this entire system that I'm sharing with you, I wanted this to be able to take me down to 50 degrees in the evening. This system was going to be after I sent home my cold weather gear, but yet would still serve me during warmer weather times down to about 50 degrees. So I do have a puffy with me. I have it packed up in its pouch here because the wind has been blowing and it's been blowing across the ground here. So I do have a puffy with me that I had brought along just in case the temperatures dip down. I knew they weren't going to, but again, this is shakedown time. I wanted everything in my pack as if I was going to be out on the trail and be able to sustain temperatures down to 50 degrees. What I was actually wearing when I was hiking, first and foremost, I treated everything with Sawyer insect repellent. I wanted to give some protection against ticks, which one very important thing I want to mention. We'll go ahead and talk about my shorts here. These are the infamous shorts. Yes, I know these are man purse shorts, but I did need to wear these because I needed a place for my phone and also a place to put my GoPro while I was walking. I did not want to wear these, but unfortunately I had to. Now, when you're treating your clothing with the Sawyer insect repellent, I made the mistake. I had these shorts hanging. So what I did was I thoroughly sprayed the edges of the pant legs here, the shorts, the legs if you will, and I feel pretty confident that I got too much of this product up inside the shorts, and they did irritate me horribly. You're not supposed to put this directly on anything such as your underwear, anything that's going to come in direct contact with your body. So I do feel that I mistakenly sprayed some up in there, and it did cause some rashing on my legs while I was hiking. So just a little tip there for you. So there's my shorts that I had worn. I did have a short sleeve wicking shirt, and I did have some wicking underwear. Getting into my socks, I'd worn the trusted Darn Tough socks, and I also wore these Fox River wicking sock liners. I feel that these saved me, the sock liners. I did not have one blister during my entire trek, and that was a major concern of mine. I was actually kind of surprised. I do feel these sock liners helped me out with that. As far as footwear, go ahead and put the camera down here. I'm using the Ultra Lone Peak 3.5, and you can see the infamous legendary toe peel that they have there. These are discontinued. However, you still can find some sizes online, and it's highly recommended that you buy these shoes one full size larger. Now, I'm an 11. I bought the 12s, and one thing that I have realized, along with my socks and my sock liners, is I should have been in a 12.5. So even walking on a flat, my toes don't have enough room up here in the toe area, and it's been very uncomfortable, especially coming on the downhills. So as I look at other shoes, or if I decide to replace these, if I can find my size, I would go 1.5 size larger in my footwear. Other than that, the Ultras have served me fantastically. Another clothing item that I had on while I was hiking was my buff. These things are absolutely invaluable and can even serve as a hood. There's so many different configurations for these. Just simply look it up online, but I can't tell you how invaluable a buff is. Additional clothing that I had along was a pair of running shorts. These are the ones that I wish I could have worn the whole time because they would have kept me so much cooler. An additional wicking short sleeve shirt. 2 additional pair of underwear. Again, I was battling chafing. I was trying to keep it at bay. So during the summer months, it's always good to have an additional pair of wicking underwear. These things are really light, but will also give you the ability to keep yourself dry to battle chafing. I have a pair of Darn Tough wool sleep socks. Now, these are more of a winter blend, but again, I want the system to be able to take me down to 50 degrees, so I do have some extra sleep socks there that would always stay dry. A couple extra items. Mentioned my knees, wobbly knees, and had not 1, not 2, but 3 knee braces along in case I ran into any problems. Digging into my sleep system, my sleeping pad is the Climate Static V2. This weighs 16.3 ounces. The R value on this is only 1.3. So this is a fairer weather pad. I'm still on the fence about this because this does have a slow leak in it. I do have another one. I haven't tested it out yet. These are value price sleeping pads at about $40. A lot of people are using them. Again, I'm a side sleeper, so I do have some trouble finding a way to get comfortable even with deflating it partially. So I'm still working that out. This is my Friendly Swede sleeping bag liner. Picked this up cheap off Amazon for $20 couple dollars. It is not silk, but I did want to have something very, very light. It is zippered on the side, and I wanted something very light just in case I needed a few degrees of comfort if the evenings got a little cool. Now on day 2, probably about 5 o'clock in the morning, I did find myself covering up with this. So cheap product, and it helps you helps protect your gear against the dirt and filth that you pick up off the trail, and I like it. It's going to stick around for a while. As far as any type of a blanket or a quilt, I brought along my AWOL Escape Bivy, and I've had this for quite a few years. This is breathable, and it is a Tyvek type like material, and you can actually use this as a quilt. I've taken this alone down to 50 degrees and it with just some summer clothing on. So that combined with the sleeping bag liner, definitely I feel will take me to where I need. This thing is only 8 ounces, so this is even lighter than my Costco quilt that I have, and maybe a good option for you. I also plan to take this along for cold weather camping to pair with my Enlightened Equipment 20-degree quilt, and that together should take me down probably to about 10 degrees comfortably. My tent that I had along for this journey is the Big Agnes Copper Spur HVUL1. It is a one-person tent. I'm a pretty big guy. It's 6'1", about 230 at the moment, and I was able to get comfortable in this tent, but trust me, I had to budget every square inch for every piece of gear that I had. Served me well. We did have the downpours on day 2, kept me perfectly dry, and I do want to mention the zipper on the fly. I have yet to figure that out. I had great difficulty with the zipper. I don't feel the zipper is damaged, but it has a slight overlap on it, and every time I zipped it open and shut, it seemed like it was getting caught. So I'm not sure if that is a manufacturer flaw, or I have yet to figure that out. Along with the shelter, it is critically important to have some type of a ground cloth, and I simply picked up one of the eBay version footprints for this tent that worked out pretty good. I got that for about 10 bucks off of eBay. My cook system, or should I say lack thereof, I was actually experimenting with cold soaking during this trip. I am stoveless. I did not have a stove whatsoever or a fuel bottle that came along with it. What I did bring along in case I did encounter a campfire or decided to build one of my own, I did bring my Toaks 750 milliliter cook cup. Absolutely love this thing. And I also brought, for cold soaking, a gelato container. Inside you'll find simply a bandana and a mini Bic lighter in the event that I wanted to start a fire. So this was going to be my primary item for cold soaking, although I did choose to use freezer bags. One great thing about these gelato containers, they're just a perfect size, and this fits perfectly inside my Toaks cook cup. Homemade koozie, just in case I needed that. It's ultralight, fabricated myself. There's plenty of videos out there how to make these. I have a cheap Sea to Summit plastic spoon and just a cheap pouch here that I picked up from Walmart to store all of my cook items in. This is what I'd use for my food bag. It is a waterproof Sea to Summit Nano 13-liter bag. I have a carabiner with it in case I needed to hang it somewhere other than a bear pole. I also had 50 feet of reflective paracord. I've not used this cordage yet, and I understand that it likes to get caught on everything under the sun. So I do plan on upgrading this cordage, and a friend had recommended using some reflective Lawson line, so I'm going to look into that. And as far as a rucksack, I simply planned on using a half-empty water bottle, tying some cordage on the end of it, tossing it over the tree, and I could even hang via the PCT style method with the water bottle, because the water bottle would not pass through the carabiner that I would be using. One thing to note regarding these lighter weight bags, now this did not happen to me, this happened to another hiker. They had a very similar setup as far as their food bag, and when they went to hang this from the bear pole, the clasp actually broke apart and their bag came crashing to the ground. So with that in mind, I know that this is not going to last. I had about 6 pounds of food in it, and I just know that it's not the purpose it was intended for. So I have since ordered and received a Light AF, one of their food bags, this is the size large, and this is more for that intended purpose of heavier weights and durability. Of course, it is made of Dyneema, so hope to share some more feedback on this food bag on future hikes. Getting into some personal hygiene and medical items. Here they are, folks. These are the earplugs that I needed. Some folks joked around about the disabled rooster. What it was, it took me a while to determine. The rooster that was crowing, it made a horrific sound. It didn't even sound like a rooster crow, but I finally figured out after about an hour, it actually was a rooster crowing. So that's what I meant by a disabled rooster. So here I have a little fire kit. You can't take the bushcraft out of me. So here are some Vaseline soaked cotton balls, another mini Bic lighter. I also have a sharpener here for my knife, and you also find a little mini ferro rod in there as well. On the medical side of things, I do have some antibiotic ointment cream there, some Band-Aids. We have some vitamin I, which is ibuprofen, some Imodium AD in the pack, have some Dr. Bronner's soap. This is a fantastic product, and I simply used an old hand sanitizer container to reduce the amount of size there. So good old Dr. Bronner's, you can even brush your teeth with it, but great for personal hygiene. Take a bath, wash your clothes. Have a chapstick here, some repair tape for my tent. Now this was knee related. I did bring an instant cold pack, and I may not take that in the future, so that has a little bit of weight that could have been cut out of my pack. I do have some wet wipes here, my toothbrush and toothpaste, and I used some old contact lens cases to put some bug repellent in, and that is a super awesome little lightweight thing to add some other items. Personal hygiene, or maybe a little pill case to keep them dry, but contact lenses cases work fantastic for that. Chafing. Gold Bond medicated powder. I've used it for years and it has worked well. This is a product that I've discovered. I had not seen it before, but they're carrying it at my local Walmart. It is a Gold Bond friction defense. Now I do have some of the Body Glide, and the Body Glide is available in a much smaller container. Unfortunately, this is about the size of a regular stick of deodorant, so I'm not sure if Gold Bond is going to come up with a travel size. But as far as a lubrication and protection against chafing, I actually prefer this Gold Bond friction defense over the Body Glide, and I honestly feel that I'll be able to eliminate the powder, because if you even remotely have a hot spot, if you get some on there, or before you go to bed at night, you put some of that on, and it actually takes care of business for you. Then when you get up the next day, just make sure you're all cleaned up, apply another layer, and then off you go. I did not have any issues whatsoever with chafing on the trail. Getting over here to some privy tools, or taking care of business on the trail. Of course, we got some toilet paper and the legendary deuce of spades. This light, ultra-light little item has worked well for me. So if you don't have a deuce of spades, you might want to check that out. And the final few items before we wrap everything up here, I consider this a personal hygiene item. This is one of these lint-free cloths. This has come in so handy as far as personal hygiene, bathing, drying water from the inside of your tent. These are super lightweight, and again, these are fast drying. It's lint free, it's cotton free, so this has come in handy for a multitude of uses. Also, I had just a regular trash bag liner inside my pack to help waterproof everything. I am going to step up to either a contractor bag or maybe even a large turkey bag. Some people have had some great success with that as well. As far as navigation on the trail, I'd use my Guthook guide, but I also brought a section of the AWOL guide. So if you purchase one of these guides, you can get the PDF file, which is going to be the lightest form of carrying those, but if your phone goes down, what are you going to use? So a lot of people tear these into sections, so I did bring that along with me, along with a pen to take some notes and to write in any shelter logs or anything like that. Switching over to my phone here so I can share some of my vlogging gear and electronics. This is my GoPro Hero 7 Black. And I do want to caution you, if you were looking at picking up this GoPro, it's my first GoPro, and if you've done any amount of research, they are plagued with problems with freezing, mysterious battery draining, and I have actually, unfortunately, experienced some of these issues. Other than that, now they've just recently came out with a software update. I did apply it to the camera, and everything has been working perfectly here today. Time will tell. I absolutely love it. Again, that's the GoPro Hero 7 Black. I'm running a total of 4 batteries with that, and I do have this nifty little charging bank here, and what I like about that is you can actually shut that and you can charge it in the sack while you're on the trail. Do have a phone mount for my UltraPod. Frozen, thank you so much for the tip on the UltraPod. This is a mini tripod that has come in so handy. You can simply carry it to vlog with, and it also has Velcro, so you can strap this to your trekking poles, to a small tree, do your walkthrough shots. So you will definitely love this. This is the UltraPod. Thanks again, Frozen. I do have a triple charger here, some extra cables, basically double sets of cables for everything that I have. My battery packs, my phone, my GoPro in there, as well as some extra SD cards in there. I have two different power banks here. Rav Power and Anchor are two fantastic brands. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery bank, and this is a 13,000 milliamp hour power bank. Both of them have performed flawlessly, and I've recharged them many times. Now for the one foolish item that I shoulda, coulda, woulda left at home. At 6 ounces, my brand new telescoping monopod. Never touched it one time. I could have done the same thing with my UltraPod, simply strapped to one of my trekking poles. What a fool, but I carried it the whole way, and it's never gonna enter my pack again. Let's talk about pack weight as I'm heading back out to the trailhead. My base weight was right at 21 pounds. Now, of course, I was stoveless and fuelless on this trip. If you take away the foolish monopod that I brought along at 6 ounces, and you had seen my gear list, so there's a few simple ways I could have trimmed a little bit more weight out of there, taking me closer to 20 pounds. As far as food and water, I weighed in right at 31 pounds. My food bag for 4 to 5 days of food was just under 6 pounds, and I had 2 liters of water with me when I walked out of Harper's Ferry. Of course, we all know now I should have taken more water with me. That's pretty much it as far as base weight goes. If you have any comments regarding my gear list, or if you'd like to have a little bit more information about any of the gear that I shared, feel free to post that in the comments below. Looking forward to sharing more with you on future hikes. I do appreciate everybody taking the time to check out my gear list for my summer shakedown hike, Harper's Ferry to the Mason-Dixon line. And again, thanks everybody for subscribing. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope to see you out there soon. Thanks so much for watching Wild on the Trail.